Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode 15 of Spotlight on Strategy series, Breakthrough Tactics to Thrive in Business and Life. Tonight, we talk about organizational excellence. I am again the CEO and founder of Global Innovation Strategies, Dr. Rhonda Farrell, aka the Success Strategist, with over 30 plus years of consulting and coaching experience across multiple industries, and I am a United States Marine Corps veteran. Tonight, again, we're going to be talking about organizational excellence, and we look at this interdependence and intertwining of cultural and operational aspects. On the cultural side, we examine what we have to put into place from a core values and from a behavioral aspect. So integrity based on truth and trust, discipline, which means standardization and repeatability, right thing, right way means harnessing the guiding principles to do the right thing always in order to heighten the outcome and results to the customer, the client, and ultimately internally. Harnessing a quality mindset, which is holistically across people, process, and technology, that is performance-oriented, i.e., we are focused on generating the highest levels of results and outcomes for our clients, and we are fully engaged across our leadership teams and our staff, and again, with the focus on the customer, enriching their experience, enriching their quality levels, enriching their engagement levels, etc. Everything we do is through the eyes of the customer to enhance the value that they are getting through our production of a product or a service or through our partnership. On the other side of the house, the operational, which the cultural support, is the building blocks of the Shingo model. Again, we talked about guiding principles. So think of these as core values in action, which when they become a habit and which they become a small tsunami of adoption and behavioral change, we can then rise to the level of cultural change within the organization. We do this through a systemic and systematic way of examining the customer value we want to bring through the lens of the results and outcomes. And then we put in place automation tools, capabilities, etc., to drive those results. So hence the model, it's very holistic, it's quantitative and qualitative, i.e. it can be measured and trends of improvement can be shown. It's based on multiple models that you can use. If Shingo model is not your preferred organizational excellence or operational excellence model, you can also use the Juran approach. You can use the Okapi method or the Flex model. I'll leave those to you and to a later discussion, our next discussion on operationalizing, so we can do a little bit deeper dive there. But in the time being, Google that and you can understand at its root is people, process, technology in some ratio, but with the customer and client orientation heavily undergirded through repeatable, standardized core values or guiding principles that ultimately shift and raise the culture. And again, we have right mindset and right action in operational and organizational excellence. So they're based on principles. We talked about core values, we talked about principles, and we talked about in performance excellence, these core concepts and the melding of core values. At its roots is we have to create a baseline of thought. We have to create a baseline of mind share. We have to create a cultural baseline from which all of us operate consistently and collaboratively across the organization, harnessing these guiding principles. So A, there are rules. B, there's compliance. C, there are consequences when we are not in alignment. And so these excellence models really help us shift the mindset, shift the culture, shift the approach, person by person, leader by leader, partner by partner, client and customer, etc. The next is we need to look at this through the lens of a broader model integration. Oftentimes an organization is not just using one model, they're using components from multiple models, kind of a create your own model adventure, if you will, for excellence. And that integrated framework, I want a little bit of this and a little bit more of that and some of this other stuff, and voila, magic occurs to create excellence. Well, it can, if we are focused on the outcomes, if we create the model, if we deploy the model, and if we get our people and our leaders and our customers and our partners behind that model, and the constant enhancing performance that occurs when we decide and commit and execute to that level. So again, we have the Shingo model, we have the Juran model, we have other models that I mentioned on the prior slide that we'll do a deeper dive into our next session. But basically, we're creating systemic or systematic change in an organization through continuous innovation and continuous improvement, with setting the bar higher because we are going for greater and greater and greater amounts of excellence in all that we do. So the opportunity space is really, again, going back to our core strategic triad: clarity. I need to be clear on what we're attempting to achieve as far as outcomes and results. I need to be in alignment, not only with strategy, but with our cultural tenets. And then I need to perform to the highest level. So you see from the organizational excellence framework that we show here that we have alignment in multiple areas, in the goal area and the behavior area and the process area. In the goal, this is where we decide, right? We have to decide, we have to seek clarity, we have to engage, we have to co-create, and then we have to put that out there with regard to our North Star for the organization. Then we need to change. We have to, in order to move from decide to commit, we have to create this development opportunity and behavioral change opportunity. So leader development, always behaviors. That means everyone, all the time, everywhere. Then we need to check alignment, right? So that's where the performance management, I'm going to be performing these new ways of doing things under the auspices of creating value for a customer that rise to the level of excellence. And we need to measure those qualitatively and quantitatively to get the performance changes that we're seeking. And then we work on, of course, standardization and accelerators, which is basically looking at how we can optimize. So we look at it through the point of aligned goals, aligned behaviors, excuse me, and aligned processes, foundational, and then breakthrough. And the last component we'll look at in organizational excellence is really how do we hit the bullseye in this area? So we have to, it's really through the construct of we, the power of we, the power of all. It's an organization-wide development of guiding principles or putting in place the core values and core concepts. It's understanding that as we move to our North Star through setting the strategic priorities and goals and laying out the roadmap, we have to understand how we're doing as we execute actual versus expected. And then we have to be willing to pivot and try something new if we're not on target. Next is once we get the recipe correct and we're at the correct performance trajectory. We then move into standardization and scaling, which allows us to get right into the bullseye with regard to clarity, alignment, and performance, again, with the outcomes and results, value enhancement for the client, which ultimately is derived through revenue gains and other organizational gains and excellence achievement in our own organizations. So 3 ways to continue the excellence conversation. You can join me for a VIP workshop, coaching or consulting, and join us next week as we look at how to operationalize organizational excellence. Again, I'm Dr. Rhonda Farrell. You can contact us, Global Innovation Strategies, CEO at GBLINNOVSTRAT-LLC.com, because we want to help you gain greater clarity, stronger alignment, so you can create higher performance and more derived values for your clients. We want to help you thrive. Thank you, and please join me next week as we look at how to operationalize organizational excellence.